Hi everyone, in this video we're going to go over a short tutorial on how to use Google Classroom. Google Classroom is a great way for you to bring your class online, and it allows you to share assignments with your students. You can add materials, you can even grade them as well. And we're going to go over all of those things inside of this tutorial video. So to get started with Google Classroom, you can simply go to a browser. Firefox or Chrome would work best, and you could just type in classroom.google.com. That will take you directly to Google Classroom. Now, if you haven't logged in before, you will have to follow the prompts. It's going to ask you to confirm your email address and choose whether you're a teacher or a student. If you are applying as a teacher and you want to create your own classes eventually, you will have to be approved by an admin, but once that approval goes through on their end, you will be able to then create your class. So I do have a few other classes here that are already started. Yours will not have this, but as you start creating classes, they will show up in this section here. Now, to get started creating your class, once you have your access, you can click the little plus sign up here and click Create Class. We'll name this class for this tutorial Google Classroom Tutorial, and you don't have to put a section or a subject or a room. You can just name your class whatever you like, but if you are going to have multiple classes that students will have to tell the difference from, it's important to be as clear as possible. If you want to put your name inside the class name, that would be helpful for them as well. Once you have put all the information that you would like, you can click Create, and this will create your class for you. So here we have our class that's been created for us, and the first thing we want to do is invite students to join our class. Now, there are two ways to do that, and the first way is to go up to the People tab here at the top, and here under Students you can click on the little person here and invite your students by putting in their email address. So if you have a student that you want to invite, you can simply put their email address in there, click Invite, and that will invite them to join your class. Now, the easiest way to do it, I believe, is to share something with them called the class code. Each class is equipped with a class code, and that is located on your main page. So if we go back to the stream here, if you look here at the top, we have our class code here. If you need to see it in bigger letters, you can click on the little full screen display, and that will show you your class code in a bigger font. Now, when students log in, they can click on the little plus sign in the upper right-hand corner like you did when you were creating your class. And instead for them, they will click Join Class and simply put this class code right into there. That will then get them connected to your class, and it's less work for you to have to do. If you have a large amount of students that need to be added, it makes your life easier because they can then just add themselves to the class. So we're going to X out of this here. And the next thing that we want to talk about is the theme, which is here at the top. So we have the name of our class, we have our class code, and we also have the theme that's set up here. Now, if you click Select Theme, you can choose any of these pre-made themes that you like depending on the subject that you teach, or even if you just like the way that it looks, you can sort of sift through these and see which ones that you like. Or you can also upload a picture of your own, which is what we're going to do for our class. So I'm going to X out of this, click on Upload Photo, and then I want to find a photo that I have on my computer. I'm going to select the cow JPEG, and then from there it'll upload my picture, and I can sort of move it around to determine what I want to show up in my theme. So I can sort of fit it like this and try to make it as big as I can to get as much as I can. And then I can click Select this class theme, and then you'll see that the photo has then changed to my image. This just sort of makes your class a little bit more personalized to you, and you can choose whether or not you want to do your own image or a theme that's already preset for you. So the next thing that we're going to talk about is actually the tab that we already have selected, and that's the Stream tab. The Stream tab is where all the activity on your page will show up, with the most recent item showing up at the top. And now this includes announcements, it includes assignments, it includes the students. If they are given permission, they can also post and comment, and you can also disable this feature if you like, if you don't want them to have that ability. But if they do have the ability, all of those posts and comments will appear here on the stream. So in order for you to add something to this section, you want to click on Share Something with Your Class. So if we click on there are a few options of things that you can do here. The first thing you can do is just add a basic announcement. So we're going to type something really simple in here. And my announcement for them is to please remember to bring their textbooks to class on Tuesday. When I'm done with my announcement, I can simply click on Post, and that will post my announcement directly to the stream here on the main page. Now, another example of things that you can do, if we go back and click into Share Something with Your Class, and this allows you to add an attachment for your students to view. So an example of this might be a syllabus or a question sheet that maybe you want them to have. So let's do that. We're going to add a file, and we're going to search our computer here by clicking on Select Files from your device, and let's choose the Moodle Guide for Students. And that will add that directly to our Google Classroom page, and we click Upload. And once it uploads the file, you'll see it added here as a PDF, and you then can add a message that goes along with this if you like. So I can say, please check out the following guide to assist you with Moodle. So once I'm done writing what I want to write, I could just click on Post, and the same thing goes like before with my announcement. It'll post that guide directly to my stream, and you'll notice that because it is the most recent, it showed up on top of my announcement. The next thing that you can add here is items from your Google Drive. So if I click Share Something with Your Class, I'm going to click Add and press Google Drive. It's now going to show my Google Drive here, and let's say I want to search for something specific and I want to search for this presentation. I can then go and click on, I could share it with my class by adding a message as to what they can expect. So I've written in my message here, and you'll notice I wasn't able to post it until I've given a little bit of an explanation. So I did let them know what they can expect from what they're looking at here, and I can click on Post. We're going to share something with the class again, and then we'll choose our YouTube option here. You can either type in that YouTube URL here if you have it, or you could search for a particular video. So if I want to search for a video, I can search for Wagner College Tech Tip and see what comes up. And so we'll just choose the very first one that's here and click on Add, and that will go ahead. I just want to give a little explanation. Click on Post, and that will add to my page as well. And the last thing that I want to show you in regards to sharing things on your classroom stream is a link. And if I click on the paperclip again and click on link, I can then type in any link that I want. So we could just keep it really simple and type in www.wagner.edu. Click Add Link, and we could give a little explanation here. And the other thing that I do want to show you is you can post it immediately, but if you click on the little downward arrow here, you can post it now. You could also schedule to post it at a later date. So let's say you are being very productive and you're trying to get your Google Classroom all set up ahead of time. You can schedule your announcements and your files and anything you want to share for a certain date and a certain time, and that's when it'll be posted for the students to see it. I'm just going to leave mine as is, but you do have that option if you do choose to. And you can also choose to make it a draft if you're not quite ready to share it yet. So we're just going to keep ours as regular and click on Post, but you do have those options should you choose to use them. Now the next thing we're going to talk about is the classwork tab here at the top and creating assignments for your students. So we're going to click on classwork, and now you have the ability to create assignments and create questions if you wish as well. So there are multiple kinds of things to assign, and we're going to get into them right now. Now to access all of your options, you can click on this little black Create button, and this will give you all of the options that you have in terms of creating assignments for students. So the first option here is to click on Assignment. Now this is just a regular assignment. You can add materials and you will give them instructions on what you want them to do. So we're just going to put here in the title, we'll name it Topic Paper Ideas. So we have our title up there, and I want to give them some instructions here for what I want them to do. So I have my instructions here asking them to submit a one-page paper and giving them 3 possible topic paper ideas that they can submit. So here are my instructions, and now you might ask, what is the difference between doing this on stream, which it seems like we just did before, and doing it this way in this particular tab? The difference is that you're able to give a point value here, and you're able to give a due date. So if you want to make this worth 100 points, if you want to make this ungraded, you could do that. If you want to make it worth 10 points, you can choose how many points it's worth or not worth, and you can give a due date as to when the student needs to have it in by. So if we click on a due date, we can do no due date, or we can make it due on March 5th, let's say. Once we're done, we can then assign this, but you see you also have the option to have a rubric. So I'm just going to leave mine as is, and I'm going to click on assign. And again, we had the same options as we had before, where we can then assign, we can schedule, or we can save it as a draft if we choose. So I'm just going to click assign, and that will assign this assignment to the students. You can see now it shows up here on the main classwork page, and it also shows the due date in which it is due. The next type of assignment that we can create is the quiz assignment. And so if we click on create quiz assignment, a page will load here asking us to give the title and the instructions. What's great about this is that it will automatically create a gradable Google form for your students. And that is loaded here, and we can populate that in a few minutes. So we're going to put our title in here, so we'll just name it something simple. We can name it quiz 1. And the instructions here are optional. So now what we want to do is click on the blank quiz. It will open up in a new tab, and now we can populate this quiz depending on what we would like it to say. So the first thing we want to do is obviously name our quiz here at the top. So again, this is going to be quiz 1, and here inside blank quiz we can name it again to quiz 1. And in form description, that's where we can put our instructions for this particular quiz. So now I want to go down to the untitled question, and by default it is a multiple choice question. It is the easiest way to add a question on a Google form, so I suggest, if you can, and that format is something you're comfortable with, using the format multiple choice. You can also choose to do a short answer or a paragraph, but by default we're going to stick with what they give us. So I'm going to fill in and show you how to do one question, and then I'll pre-fill the rest of the quiz in to save some time. So for the untitled question, I just clicked inside the box and I want to write my question. So we'll just do, what color is the sky? And here under option 1, I can now click into and start typing in my options. Now, I can type my first option in. I can click into add option to type my next option in, so red, or I could press enter, and that will bring me right to the next option, which is very quick and easy as you're going down, makes things faster. So those are all of our options there, and we can then choose to also make this required, which I like to do because it will not allow them to complete the quiz unless they answer this question. And if you don't like this question, you can also delete it. If you want to, you can also duplicate this question by clicking on here, but we're not going to do that in this case. So now I'm going to fill in the rest of my quiz. I'm going to pre-fill in these questions and answers. But if you want to create a new question, you just click on the little plus sign here, and that will add your question. So I have pre-filled in all these questions and answers for my quiz. But the next thing I want to show you is you have to tell Google Forms what the correct answer is for each of these questions, so that way when the student takes it, it knows what to grade them. So here in the first question, we're going to click inside of it, click on answer key, and select the correct answer is blue. So we can give that as many points as we like. So let's say that's going to be 5 points. Which holiday is coming up next? We can click answer key, and that's going to be Memorial Day, and let's give that 5 points. And then the first president of the United States is the answer key, and George Washington, and let's give that 5 points. So we have assigned the points and the correct answers to all of our questions. And again, if we want, we can make these questions required, which I think is good to do. That way they have to answer them. Another thing you might want to take a look at is the settings here in the upper right hand corner. Now, some of these are checked off already, since there is a specific way this has to look in order for it to be a gradable quiz. So if you click on presentation, you can show a progress bar, shuffle the question order. You can also choose a confirmation message if you want them to say, if you wanted to say something to them when it's over. For quizzes, you can also choose when you want to release the grade. So if you want them to release it and immediately after each submission see their grade, or you can have them wait until you decide to give it to them. And also you choose what you want them to see. Do you want them to see their missed questions, what the correct answers are? One thing you might want to make sure you do here in general is limit it to one response. That way the students can only take that quiz once. When you're finished looking at the settings, you go ahead and click on Save, and now we can actually X this out and go back to our quiz assignment. So you won't see the name of your quiz show up here, but it just needs to be refreshed, so don't worry. So I would also leave the grade importing checked off, because basically what that means is if you have it checked off, you'll be given the ability to import the grades directly from the form into your grades tab in Classroom. So this makes it 10 times easier for you, so you don't have to keep going back and forth. So I would keep that checked off. Now here on the right hand side, you have a few options as before. You can make how many points you want this test to be, when it's due, and if you want to make it a topic. So we're going to look at how to make topics in a little while, but if you had already had those created, you can then make them here, or you can create a brand new one to organize your screen. You can also look at the rubric here, create one, reuse one, and also one thing here that you might not know what it means is the originality reports. The Originality Reports is a newer feature of Google Classroom, and it basically allows the student to scan their documents before submitting to avoid any unintentional plagiarism. So for something like this, it probably wouldn't be necessary since it's a quiz, but if they are submitting a paper, you might want to have the Originality Reports checked off so they do have the opportunity to double check before they submit it. So once you are all set with your quiz assignment, you can go ahead and click on Assign, and that will then add this quiz to your page here of your classwork tab. So real quickly, one of the things I want to show you is what it would look like when a student takes that quiz and how you can import grades from a quiz assignment. So if we click over to another browser here, you can see that the student has taken the quiz. This is what it looks like and what points they're given. We gave them the option of seeing their answers right or wrong, so it didn't take that away from them, and it tells them what their grade was here at the top. So now we do have a quiz that we can import the grades from. So if we go back to our page here and click on Stream, we can see if we click on classwork, actually on quiz 1, you can see that we have 1 turned in. So if we want to import those grades, what we want to do is click on where it says 1 turned in, and then you'll see here the quiz and the option to import the grades. If we click on import grades, it's going to ask me if I'm sure, and if I click import, what's going to happen is going to take that grade from the Google form and bring it over to my grades tab, which we can take a look at just so you can see what it looks like. So if I click on here and click on grades next to IT training, that grade has been imported and I didn't have to manually do it myself. So I want to go back into the Classroom tab here because I want to show you a few more options you have in terms of assignments. So here the third option under Create is to put a question out there, and what that is it allows you to pose a question to your students for them to answer. So in this case, let's click on question and we'll just write our question right in here. So I put my question in here and I'm giving them the option of a short answer. I can also choose multiple choice if I choose, but since it is an open-ended question where they can put in whatever they want, a short answer makes sense. And in this case, if it is not going to be graded, you can choose to ungrade it, and this will just give them the space in which to put their contributions. So I'm going to click on Ask. And also, before I do that, you can also see there's a few options here. You can allow them to reply to each other, or they can edit their answers. So if you don't want them to have any of those options, you could just uncheck that and go ahead and click Ask. So now under classwork, that question will be here listed as the most recent option. So list 3 topics you would like to use, and then they can go ahead and answer that question. Now the last option that you have here is the material option, and that is going to allow you to post content for students that it doesn't necessarily require them to complete anything, but you want them to have that material. So if you click on material, you can then give it a title, and so in this case we could just do something simple like class notes. And let's say we just want them to have a copy of whatever the class notes are for that day, and what we would use for that is to just click on add and then find a link from any of these options and putting that onto your Google Classroom page. I'm not going to do that in this case. I just wanted to show you what that would look like. So we're just going to X that out, and it'll take us right back to our classwork tab. So as you can see, we're starting to get more assignments, and this is where things might start to get a little bit disorganized. So this is where topics come in. And what topics are the ability to basically organize your page by different categories. So what we want to do is create some topics on this page so that way we can organize our page and make it look as neat as possible. So if we click on create and we click on topic, let's say we want to make a quiz topic, and you'll see that'll show up here. And then let's say we want to make a assignments topic. So if we click on topic, we can also do a assignment topic and click add, and now we can move whichever items that we want to go into these topics. So if we have a quiz 1, we can move it directly underneath where it says quiz. If we have these assignments, so this is going to go under topic paper ideas, and again, we're just going to keep on doing stuff like that. So list 3 topics because that's part of an assignment, and let's do one more topic, and we can just call this one class materials. And anything that is associated with the class can then be underneath class materials. So that's really as basic as it gets in terms of creating topics. So now when you go into an assignment, and let's say you're creating something new, you should have these options to add even new assignments to, so that way you don't have to move everything around. You can do it as you go along. Another cool feature that I want to talk to you about is the ability to have a Google Calendar and a Class Drive folder. So when you create a course, a calendar and a Class Drive folder is automatically created for you, for all of your students and for you, that is associated with only the items in this class. So any due dates you do, anything you have where there is a date in which something has to be submitted by or in by, that is going to automatically sync with your Google Calendar for this class. So if I click on Google Calendar, you can see my calendar will show up here, and one of my items was due on the 5th of March. So you can see that the assignment of topic paper ideas is due on this day, and it gives you a little bit of an overview of what they have to do. So this way there is no excuse as to not remembering when something is due, since they will have access to that calendar automatically populated for them on a Google Calendar. Now the same thing goes for the Google Drive folder. So if you click on Class Drive folder, it'll automatically open Google Drive, and you'll see that the Google Classroom tutorial automatically has some options inside of it. So we've done a few quizzes in terms of practice, and we also added a Moodle guide for students. So anything we add in terms of quizzes, anything we add in terms of PDFs or class notes, anything like that will automatically be added to the Google Classroom tutorial folder, or whatever the name of the folder is for your particular class. So the next tab that we're going to go over in this tutorial is the People tab. And the People tab basically shows everyone who is connected with your class. That this is where you can invite a co-teacher. If you are teaching along with someone, you can simply click on the plus sign here and invite whatever teachers you have. And if you notice, there's a little message here that says teachers you add can do everything you can except delete the class. So you keep that in mind. If you are inviting a teacher or someone with that access, they will have as much access as you. If you want to email a particular student, you can click on the little dots here, and that will email that student. And you can also check off on the students and on the actions menu, either email, remove the student, or mute that student from participating in the class. And sometimes, you never know, something like this might be necessary. So you do have the option to mute a student from contributing to posts or comments. Another tab that I want to discuss with you is the Grades tab. So if I go and I click on the Grades tab here at the top, it'll basically take me to an online grade book where you can assign grades to assignments and quizzes that are given to the students. So we don't have to grade our quiz because we've already imported the grades, but if I wanted to view it, I want to click on Quiz 1 here and make sure that I view if they've turned it in, I could see the quiz itself and any other options that I want. If I haven't imported the grades, I could do that through here. But if I want to grade, let's say, the topic paper, and I want to view that submission, all I need to do is click on the 3 dots here, choose View Submission, and another tab will open up in the top. Now I can view what the student has submitted here. I could see that they've turned it in, and I can also read it and give it a grade. So let's say I give it an 85. I can add comments if I like, which I've already done. And once I'm ready for that student to see that grade, I could click on Return, and that will then notify the student and check any grade that I have left. So I'm going to click on Return, and that will send that back to that particular student. So we go back to our grades here. We could also view any of the other options that we have. We don't really have any other gradable things here, but you can, if you have a question that was asked, you can view that here as well. So basically anything that needs to be graded can be viewed from this particular tab. The last thing that I want to discuss with you is the class settings. So to get there, I want to click on the little gear here at the top, and this will then take me to my class details. I can see my class name here. I can also see the class code that I have here, and I can reset that if I choose to, or copy or display it. And it also allows you to look at the options on your Google Classroom page and choose how you want the students to see it. So on the stream, if you want to give the students the ability to post and comment, you can do that. If you don't want to give them that ability to if you only want to give them the ability to comment, they can, or you cannot give them any ability at all and just have you have that ability to post or comment. And the same thing goes with classwork on the stream. You can choose to show attachments or show condensed notifications. Basically, you could just go over these options and choose whichever settings for your page that you want. You could also show the deleted items, but only you will see them. The students will not see that. Here under grading, you can basically choose how you want to calculate the grades for your class. So you can do total points, or you can do weighted by category. If you want to weighted by category, you could click that, and then you would add your grade category under here. So if you wanted to make quizzes a category, and you make any quizzes in that category worth 15%, you can then add that there, and it shows you, depending on 100%, how much percentage you have remaining to add in terms of categories. So that is a basic tutorial of Google Classroom. As you can see, it makes it very easy for you to add documents and communicate with your students back and forth. And the integration with your Google Calendar and Google Drive is an added bonus, because basically your students will know when things are due, and they'll also have possession of anything that you have shared with them. I hope that you enjoy using Google Classroom with your course.